If we want that
not right away, right?
Yeah, that's the first thing I did notice.
Because the last couple of days, as we've been breaking down each game, I said, all right, LeBron, you're kind of walking around a little too, comfortable on the sideline. I understand that you want to be 100%, but LeBron, you like competitive basketball. Why not try to get that 6th seed? Why not? Why not have the first round Clippers, Lakers, and the whole world's going crazy, going to La La Land and watching this drama unfold?
That would be awesome.
Right? Oh, but you chose to get healthy and possibly you want Steph Curry for one game? You sure you want that smoke?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? So can we put the standings back up, please? Because I wanted to take this conversation to people at home because we always talk about, there you go, look at that. Look at that's one game. So if AD and LeBron would have played last night or night before, they beat Houston.
Right.
Come on, you're knocking on number 6 back door.
That is a great point, 3D, and that's been a topic of a lot of people's conversations in this building, outside this building.
Well, I'm glad I'm taking it to the air.
One.
But I'm glad. I wish more people would take it to the air because I'm like, LeBron, AD, get 100%. Go get that smoke. Go ahead and get rid of the Clippers the first round. Now everybody's like, for sure the Lakers are going back. You know what I mean? It's like that hype train will get up even bigger if you move to 6.
Well, that is a great thing that the Lakers, we're about to see what they're about to do. Are they going to try to move up or are they going to continue to rest their guys over the last couple of games?
So, man, I'm going to do your role again. Would you rather have a one game against what Steph has shown us the last 2 months? Since he's hurt his booty, since he's been back, he's been shooting lights out? Or do you want to try to fight the Clippers in 7 games?
It's a great question.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I want you people at home and fans at home, Laker Nation, Clipper Nation, the Mavs Nation, that 6th spot is so interesting. Because on the flip side of it, Dallas is like, oh, yeah, we want the Clippers. We know what Luka did to the Clippers last year. You sure the Clippers want Luka? You see what I mean? Come on, man.
I get it. And hey, if the Lakers continue to do this and maybe try to control the positioning, I don't know if the basketball guys are going to like that. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
So we love the Lakers, but let's shift the focus to talking about the Blazers and the Suns. That's the second game tonight on TNT. Now, Dame Lillard.
Oof.
Since the month of May started, the Blazers are 6-1. He's been on a tear, 31 points per game, shooting lights out, basically doing what Dame does, especially towards the end of the season, was the bubble MVP. So, but the question I pose to you is, can this style of play, we know this team is ISO heavy, last in the league in assists, last in dunks, so they don't always, even though you see a dunk right there, they don't always get to the rim. They like to shoot the J a lot. Can this team have success in the postseason?
They have to, bro. I go back to when the Warriors were rolling. Charles used to always say across the hall, a lot of people, there's no way you can win a championship shooting all jump shots. Well, we kind of throw that out the window now. The Warriors showed us that with Clay, Stephens, and KD shooting jump shots. It worked. Dame and CJ, they have to do it. That's what they've been their whole career, bro.
Right.
So how are we asking them to change now and be something they're not? The bigger question is Nurkic. I don't know if Collins is going to be healthy. I think he might be done for guys like that. Those are my bigger questions. Can those guys step up?
Right.
You bring in Powell from Toronto, has championship experience. Can he come in and make some shots and take some of the scoring pressure off of Dame and CJ at time? And last but not least, can you find some type of defensive identity? At the end of the day, what do we say about the Lakers this year? Even when they were struggling, they were finding ways to win games through their defense. Right? When the Warriors were winning championships, we gave them a lot of credit for their offense, but they found a way to play defense. So at the end of the day, how can the Blazers find ways to play good defense when they're not clicking on offense?
Well, they're playing well right now. You see that win over the Utah Jazz. Before that win, they were 0-8 against the top 4 teams in the Western Conference. So maybe they're starting to get things together defensively. Maybe they can improve as well. Because in 3D, I hate to ask this question because there's so much basketball left to be played, but if this group, as currently assembled, is this the last time we're going to see this group if they don't have success in the postseason?
Well, to take it a step further, are you asking me, is this the last time we're seeing Dame and CJ together?
You can read between the lines.
Yeah, I take it there. I'm going to say no. I don't think the front office, I don't think Coach Stotts and them are ready to give up on Dame and CJ. Yeah, I think the pressure is more on the general manager and their coaching staff is to find those right pieces to complement them. Is it Nurkic? You know, it's different guys. You know, we know Carmelo's getting a little bit older now.
Right.
But maybe might replace him. But at the end of the day, I still would keep CJ and Dame together a little bit longer.
Love to see those two play together. I would love to see them have more postseason success. Well, a backcourt that's having plenty of success together is the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns, we'll shift it over.
Oh, boy.
Because Chris Paul, we know the greatest leader in our game. You have Devin Booker. And this team right here, we're talking about the Phoenix Suns. We know that they have Chris Paul, Jay Crowder. Those are their veterans. But when I look at the rest of the team, they have pretty much no playoff experiences. Is this going to hamper them in the postseason?
Devin Booker, this is your chance to take that leap to being all-star to superstar. You hit it right on the head, bro. We know what Chris Paul is. Chris Paul's pressure is, I got to get to the Western Conference Final. I've never been there. We already know that. The greatest leader in our game, as you like to say, Chris Paul, Chuck like to say.
Right.
He still hadn't been to the conference final in his illustrious career. So he already knows that's on his shoulder. But for Devin Booker, this is your opportunity. The first time you get in the playoffs, the spotlight's on you, and you're the number 2 seed, and you help this team get to the Western Conference Final, the whole narrative now changes around who you are as a superstar. DeAndre Ayton, as a big fella, you got to help Devin Booker. You're a fresh young guy, big guy into the playoffs. You got to let everyone know the double-doubles you've shown us all season long wasn't a fluke. If those two guys do that, bro, guess what? They're in that conversation as the next young group to start building around, like we talked about with Jamal Murray and the Joker. Remember a few years ago, people slept on them. They come back 3-1 twice. People are loving them. Now it's time for Booker and DeAndre Ayton to go into the playoffs and make some noise so we can talk about them more.
And Chris Paul, he deserves all the credit, indeed. But we've got to take a moment, just in case you ain't know, to shout out Monty Williams, because what he's done coming to that team, changing that culture. You know, they had the longest playoff drought, still have the longest playoff drought outside of the Sacramento Kings. And what he's been able to do over the past 2 seasons is completely turn that thing around. Yeah,
accountability. We use the word culture a lot, but Monty Williams, since day one, has really stepped up and been a man of his word, saying, I'm going to build this brick by brick. I'm going to tear it down and build it the right way. And so far, everything is going the right way. You play the right way. You share on the offensive end. You help the helper on the defensive end. And you play for one another. And so far, the Phoenix Suns are in the right direction.
Indeed, they are in the right direction. You will see them in Game 2 tonight on TNT. Well, hey, ladies, that's right. The WNBA is about to start at the table right here on NBA TV. First game. We got the Sixers, we got the Heat, and we know what time it is when these two teams get together. But I need to know, of the two teams, who's going to shoot the better field goal percentage?
Yeah, when I look at field goal percentage, bro, I look at who's going to win the game, because traditionally you shoot better, you're going to go out there and win there. And I always handicap the SBF, meaning the South Beach flu. And I am worried that the Sixers may have been enjoying themselves down in the Florida area before this game. No, frankly, the Heat are playing their best basketball of the year. They're playing with a ton of confidence. They went up to Boston not once, but twice and dominated the Celtics. And how about this? Last 3 games, the Heat are shooting 55% from the field. So even though Philadelphia has the best home record in the Eastern Conference, they're going to have to get it done on the road, and they are running into a buzzsaw right now. I am not standing in front of this Heat train. Heat shoot better from the field. Heat win this game.
Okay, so let's talk about the 3 ball. Which team is going to make more threes between the Sixers and the Heat?
Yeah, I'll give you the Birdman hands right now, okay, because Larry Bird, wrong Bird, okay? I knew he could shoot the 3, right, bro? This is easy. The Heat are going to make more threes in this game because the Heat make more threes than the Sixers, to the tune of 2 more per game than Philadelphia. And how about this? 16. They made 16 in both wins over the Celtics. That's a big number. And the Sixers in their loss to the Pacers, man, they only made 8. So that's not the strength of Philadelphia. Their strength is, they got a lot of dynamic players. And obviously if Embiid plays, there's a completely different team. But when the Heat are healthy and the Heat are making shots, the Heat are going to be very scary in the playoffs.
Well, we know these two teams can get after you defensively. So who's going to have the most steals between Philadelphia and Miami?
Yeah, it's not going to be a clean sweep for the Heat. I'm going to go with Philadelphia here. Right now, second in the NBA in steals, right behind Memphis. And this should be their identity. This should be their DNA. They should lock people up from a defensive standpoint. I don't think they have the scoring punch to go with the Nets. I don't think they have the scoring punch to go with the Bucks. Instead, lock down defensively. You have the personnel. You have Thibault. You have Danny Green. You have Ben Simmons. You have Embiid. You have Tobias Harris. Like, you got guys that can guard multiple positions, so you could switch everything. It's about Doc Rivers having these guys buy in on the defensive end, especially in the playoffs. As far as more steals, Philly gets more steals in this game.
All right, we got to go to game 2 when you have the Suns and you have the Blazers. Dame Lillard, we all know what he does at the end of the season. He starts to heat it up. So Dame Lillard, since the month of May started, he's given you 31 points per game. So the question is, will Dame Lillard score more than 28 points?
Yeah, I mean, can I throw it back at you?
Throw it back at me.
Yes, isn't it?
I think so.
There you go. Typical better, right? I think so. Yeah, we really don't know what's going to happen. And it is a little bit scary because Portland's on the second half of a back-to-back. An amazing win yesterday against the Jazz. And you got to think the Suns need this game. Suns have lost 3 or 4, right? Like, you got to turn it around at some point. But I'm not standing in front of this Lillard train. 6 straight that he's had 30-plus. And he's one of those guys that when he gets in that rhythm, you have to pick him up beyond half court. It used to be like you have to pick him up at half court. This guy will pull from the logo. So I do think that he goes out there and has a massive performance for the Blazers.
So when we have rebounds, you have Enes Kanter, you have DeAndre Ayton. Who's going to have more rebounds between the two?
You know, it's crazy that I'm going to go with Kanter because he doesn't even start. But when you have 30 rebounds in a game like Kanter did this year, I'm not picking against you. He had 30 rebounds against the Pistons, and he actually averages maybe a little bit more rebounds per game than Ayton, but he has been a machine this year. 11 rebounds last out against Phoenix, and Ayton only had 4 rebounds on the return side. So DeAndre Ayton, when he's really good, he could be a complete difference maker, but he's only had 1 game in the month of May where he's had double-digit rebounds. So it actually coincides with Phoenix struggling. You know, Ayton's not delivering. Phoenix is not winning games. So he needs to step up big in order for Phoenix to make a run and show that they're for real. But Kanter, he is a rebounding machine.
Speaking of a machine, he always rebounds well. That's Tim Doyle. We appreciate you joining us. I'll talk to you soon. There is Ben Simmons. The Philadelphia 76ers are the number 1 seed in the East. Can they maintain that and be the number 1 overall seed? We find out tonight when they take on the Miami Heat. And they are trending in the right direction. The Miami Heat were the finalists last season. Can they do it again? Jimmy Butler leading the NBA in steals, and they've been on a tear as of late. They are in position with 3 games left to advance and get further. And there is Dame Dollar, 31 points per game in the month of May. His Blazers always on the tear at the end of the season. They take on the Phoenix Suns in game 2. And you already know what to do. With CP3, the greatest leader in our game, can they get closer to maybe capturing the number 1 seed out west? They had it before, then they let it slip. But can they get it back? They might need to get a grip. And, of course, NBA fans, what's good? You are now rocking with the best. It's Bro Parrish here in Studio B. This is Game Time Live. Here to engage, enlighten, and entertain. I'm here with the 3D, the marksman, the lottery pick. Dennis Scott in the building, looking sharp. No tie today.
No tie today.
Casual.
Casual Thursday, you know.
Yeah, you
but
know.
still quarantine lean, though.
Always quarantine.
Come on,
in fact, we gotta stop calling you 3D. You know what I'm saying? You're not in 3D anymore.
My daughter calls me 2.5D.
2.5.
She has the best one yet. She got the best one yet.
That's the best one yet. Well, the best one yet might be the best two. 2 games on your screen with plenty of playoff implications. We're going to start in the Eastern Conference. Go and throw those standings up for me. We see those 76ers right there in the 1 spot, a game and a half up on the Nets. Can they hold off those Brooklyn Nets who seem to be putting everything back together? James Harden coming back last night. That's another conversation. We will stick with talking about this 76ers team who, 3D, we know how dominant they are at home. 56-9 over the past 2 seasons. So, if they get home court, is there any team realistically that will be able to beat this Philadelphia 76ers team if they have home court through the Eastern Conference?
Barring everyone healthy, as we talked about James Harden, we'll get into the conversation a little bit later, but I think the Brooklyn Nets, if healthy, we believe Kevin Durant, Kyrie, James Harden can go into brotherly love city and get a Game 7. We've seen Kyrie Irving in Game 7 in the finals hit a big shot. We've seen Kevin Durant close out series in Game 6 and 7 on the road. But will they be healthy enough to get to that point, possibly Eastern Conference final? I don't know. But I will say this for some of the naysayers. Doc Rivers still has that whisper voice, so to speak. Because when he left L.A., a lot of people questioned, could he still go to a team like Philly with all the young talent role and really help them turn the corner? Joel Embiid, the MVP candidate all season long outside the injuries. Same thing with Ben Simmons, Defensive Player of the Year candidate outside of the injuries. The only question mark was Tobias Harris a little bit early in the season. Was he an All-Star? Wasn't. And since the All-Star break, he's been up and down a little bit. The last question, can Seth Curry, can Korkmaz, can all these guys make jump shots when these lights get really, really bright and Joel Embiid gets double teamed? That's the last question Doc Rivers has to figure out. Everything else, I like what I see. But in the playoffs, these guys got to make shots because Embiid will get double teamed.
You talk about making shots, and we know that you made plenty of shots in the postseason. You definitely have to change your mentality. But thinking about this 76ers team who got swept essentially out of the playoffs last year, they've had a lot of disappointments in the postseason. How do you think they've changed as far as their mental approach? Is Doc going to be able to help them get over that hump in the playoffs?
Well, it has to fall on Doc because you didn't really make any major change. You let Josh Richardson go to Dallas and you brought in Seth Curry because you wanted more shooting. Now some pressure will be on Seth to make that swing jump shot. But at the end of the day, Doc Rivers has to figure out defensively, if you do play Brooklyn or if you are playing Milwaukee, do you have a good enough defensive scheme to slow down their superstars along with making sure your role players make shots?
Role players making shots. We see the Sixers do it, but we also see the Miami Heat. There are others have been lighting it up from three since April 18th. They are 10-3. That's the best mark in the league. And we know about the Heat culture. We know how they build things, and they seem to be coming on as of late. And I've asked this question before, and I will ask it again. Amongst the seeds that don't have home court, East or West, is this the most threatening team to a higher seed in the league?
Miami Heat?
Yes.
I would agree with you, Ro, because what happened in the bubble, some people are still questioning, the bubble, can Hero shoot like that again? You know, can Bam play lights out basketball again like again? Well, guess what? They're getting healthy, Ro.
Right.
And now they're healthy, we're starting to see some of that play that we saw in the bubble. A guy like Trevor Ariza, his numbers don't wow you, but he still gets that big steal, that big deflection, that big rebound that veterans do. So I would agree with you that the Miami Heat, when they play the half-court defense, we know they can play. And when they make open shots, like most team needs to make in the playoffs, yes, Miami Heat can be very scary.
They can be scary. We know what Tyler Hero can do. He's been on a tear as of late. We know Duncan Robinson can always light it up from three, currently fifth all-time on the Miami Heat three-point made list. But let's shift the focus to Bam Adebayo. And there's Tyler Hero on the screen. But I want to, you know what? No, we'll come back to Bam Adebayo because Tyler Hero, earlier in the season, people have said it, and you just touched on it, 3D. Okay, he did it in the bubble, but is he having a sophomore slump? His ability to knock down the three, and I guess the question I want to ask is, he's such a dynamic player. The Heat are essentially going to go as he's able to go and knock down outside shots.
Tyler Hero, I read an article where people were questioning your work ethic, that you may have had too much success in the bubble. You were getting some side accolades for playing and shooting the ball so well. Will you find that guy again? Will you get that swagger you showed in the bubble? Can you give me that smirk you gave the whole world after hitting that big three from deep in Shooter's Paradise Land? Bring that guy back, and I think you will quiet all the naysayers because you were proving that what you did in the bubble was not a fluke.
Definitely wasn't a fluke, and since he returned from that injured foot over the last 6 games, he's given you 21 points per game and able to shoot it 67%. That's just ridiculous right now. But Bam Adebayo didn't make the All-Star team this season, but we've seen that, the offense, they can run it through him. We saw that last season. We saw him be the primary option, take game winners and make game winners when Jimmy Butler was out. How key is his performance to this Heat team advancing?
Well, there's a strong argument from both ends of the floor who may be the best big man, right?
Right.
Embiid, Joker, we know they're MVP guys, but arguably Bam, defensively, he guards 1 through 5, the pick and roll, he rebounds in traffic. He's just perfect for what the Miami culture is all about. So he's one of the main reasons why I don't think too many teams want to see the Miami Heat in the playoffs because of Bam.
No, they don't want that problem. But then you have Jimmy Butler. They know him well in Philly. He did a lot of good things there. They love him. Him and Joel Embiid are tight. However, they are competitors now, leading the NBA in steals, pretty much leading the Heat in every offensive statistic category except rebounding. Jimmy Butler is so huge for this Miami Heat team.
Jimmy Butler, when Jimmy went there, we always say we worry about fit and can I get along with the word culture? And then when Coach Spo comes out and says he fits in perfect. Because a lot of people thought it was a gimmick where Jimmy's supposedly working out at 6 o'clock in the morning. And remember you heard that, Ro?
Yeah.
That's what Jimmy does.
That's what he do.
He gets up, works out from 6 to 8, then goes with a big face coffee and drinks his coffee and relaxes. So that was part of his routine. And guess what? Miami Heat, the Lonzo Mournings of the world, they get up and get their work in and then they go enjoy the rest of their day. So what Jimmy Butler's brought to this team has been perfect for the organization and for Jimmy.
It has been key for this organization. They made a finals run last season. What will they do this postseason? We're about to find out. The play-in tournament is moments away, and we're going to see it in a couple of days. We're keeping things moving in Game 2 tonight.